In this video, I'll be looking at AWS CloudFormation and how I can use CloudFormation to deploy a DevOps toolset. So first, let's take a look at the DevOps toolset. I want to install TeamCity, which is a build service. And with TeamCity, I want to install some build agents so I can build my program in parallel, or I can do multiple builds at the same time. I also want to connect this up with YouTrack, where I keep all of my list of bugs and work that needs to be done. So let's show how I can use CloudFormation to set up these three different types of services. Now, one thing I learned when I started with CloudFormation was that each node inside my deployment needs its own CloudFormation template. When I first started doing this, I tried to throw them all into one CloudFormation template, and that didn't work because I can only have one instance of a node per CloudFormation template. It's in XML or JSON format, CloudFormation, and it's pretty simple to use, pretty easy to read. And there are hundreds of examples of really complex configurations that include things like opsware and Elastic Beanstalk databases and all that stuff inside one CloudFormation template. But I decided to keep it really simple in this example so you can see the basic structure of things. So for our simple deployment that we have, we're going to define a TeamCity and a YouTrack template, and we'll show what we did with the TeamCity agent as well. So first, in each one of these templates, I'm going to define an EC2 instance I'm going to use, a database, a load balancer, and any other things I need in order for that application to get up and running. I'm going to define startup scripts and shutdown scripts, and then also security groups and open up some ports in the firewall so that things can talk to each other and that I can access the services outside of my cloud. So let's take a look first at what is inside a template file. First, the first section of the template file is a description. And that description lets you say who the author is, description of what the template does, etc., etc. The more important part is the resources. Here, I can designate an auto-scaling group. I always do so I can ensure at least one of these instances is running. This is really good if I have multiple instances that I need running, like in a worker design pattern. I may have 5 or 6 workers running in an application. I can easily put 1 to 6, no more than 10, whatever I want in my auto scaling group. For this purposes, I say that there's one and there always will be one, so I'm guaranteed that it'll be up and running. And then the next section is the launch group. This defines which EC2 image I'm going to use and any initialization scripts I need and where to get the binary to install in this instance in order to get my service up and running. One thing that we use is I always use S3 location to store where my binaries are, and I store them in zip or compressed tar files. So all I have to do is unzip or uncompress these files, and it will uncompress into the directory hierarchy that I want. Try and make it easy. I normally just have a startup script and a shutdown script like you would normally have in most Unix-based services. And then the last thing under resources is the security group. This lets you define which ports need to be open for the firewall. And as I showed earlier, I have certain ports that I need open for these services in order to talk to each other and in order to expose it to the user via a web interface. So one key thing about storing your installations in S3 is you need to make sure that you create the containers so that they're accessible to all of your EC2 instances that you'll be using. So they need to be in the same region so that you can see them, and you need to be able to set the permissions. Since I'm using public commercial products, nothing proprietary, I just make these public. It makes it easy for me, and then I grab the public URL, and it's really easy to then put that URL right into my template file. So when the instance kicks up, it goes and grabs that package from my S3 container and dumps it onto my instance and uncompresses it and gets it up and going. Inside the Init Scripts, what's really cool about what they've set up with CloudFormation is they've made it so your instances, by using cfn init, can actually grab information out of your CloudFormation template. And what that means is by storing some information in the metadata inside my CloudFormation template under the init area, what it lets me do is add all of the scripts that I need in order to get everything up and running right in my cloud template file. That way I don't have a installation file that I have to move around all over the place, remember where I checked it in. It's right there in the template. Everything is self-contained. It's very nice. I also can list all of the packages I want installed. I can add any additional files I want onto the disk, and I can enable and disable start and stop scripts right there in the template file. You can go ahead and look at CloudFormation, look for the CFNN init helper. They've got great documentation on how to use this stuff. One other key aspect that they have directly in the CloudFormation template is the concept of config sets. This lets me have different configurations for the same template based off of the platform I'm using or based off of any parameter that I can pass into the CloudFormation template. CloudFormation templates are parameterized and they have conditional statements inside the template language. So that gives you a really cool ability to have one CloudFormation template that can handle a variety of different things. Let's say that I want to install TeamCity, for example, in this case, and I want one cloud template file to handle both Windows and Linux. I can easily write that as one template file. Let's take a look at the TeamCity template file that I'm using here. Here's the high-level information. You can check it out on my blog where I actually have the file, and you can download that file right from my blog. Here I've got an EC2 image that I'm going to use, which is the AWS Linux image. I'm using a T2 micro instance, keep my costs down quite a bit. And here are the ports I'm going to open up for access: 3389, 80, 8111, and 22. 8111 and 3389 are used to communicate with build agents and also to communicate with YouTrack, which I want to do. And then the init scripts that I put in there are a start and a stop, as you can see right there. And it's really simple to stop and start TeamCity, as they already had the scripts available in their installation. The only thing that's different in the YouTrack template file, I use the same Linux image, the same instance type. I have different ports that are open, and as you can see here, I've added a permissions init script. So happens that when I unzip my YouTrack installation, the permissions aren't how I want them, so I can easily do a change mod and change the permissions the way that I want them. And then of course I have a stop and a start script like I did for TeamCity. So some of the things that you need to do once you've created your template file, you need to actually kick this template file off with CloudFormation. You can do this one of two ways, either on the command line with the AWS command or through the AWS console and just click on CloudFormation or just click on this link right here. This will then take you to the region that you want to do it in, and then you can upload your file directly into the web browser, and what it does is it stores it in an S3 container for you, and then it can download it onto any of the instances that it kicks off and starts things running. Pretty easy and simple to do. You can even watch it as it's going through its steps of provision and get the logs out and debug right there. You can also do the same thing on AWS command line by using the AWS CloudFormation command. And here's a simple one for creating a stack. And here I'm grabbing a local file called mystack.template. And then there's additional parameters you can have on there. I'm giving you kind of a highlight of where to go find things. Great documentation on the AWS website on how to do this all. Now, a couple things I learned when I was doing this. I was really kind of hoping that CloudFormation would let me define this pretty simple infrastructure where I've got three basic types of services running: TeamCity, TeamCity Build Agents, and YouTrack. But it didn't let me do that. What I really had to do was create three different cloud formation templates, and that's how it goes. One of the things that they have, I spent a lot of time researching this, was that only one EC2 image can be used for a cloud formation. Well, that's not completely true. I can have multiple images defined, but they're all conditional on parameters being passed in. It only controls one EC2 image as it's running. I was kind of hoping I could have all three nodes pop up with one template file, but that's not the case. So to do more complex orchestration of services, CloudFormation just isn't there for you. But CloudFormation does allow you to control any of the AWS services that are out there, including other cloud formations, Elastic Beanstalk, and Opsware, which does allow you to put full stacks of multi-tiered, multi-service applications out on the web. I'll be covering Opsware in some future video and blog when I get around to it. I hope you guys have found this informative. Check out the blog. It's got more details in there, and keep searching for software-defined infrastructure.